all of these have kind of kicked off with all automations really. We always ask the question, what problem are we looking to solve before we build an automation? Because if it's not solving a problem, it's probably making problems in other directions that you haven't really considered. So the problem we were coming up with this one is we had real ambiguity around our job grading. So we were asking consultants to grade jobs that they put onto the system anywhere from A to C, depending on the quality. The problem with that was it was totally subjective and up to the individual recruiter. So one recruiter's A is someone else's B, and realistically, who's going to want to mark their jobs down as a grade C? I mean, we don't measure people on their jobs, but we're just keen to know what quality of work are we bringing in. So that was effectively impacting on our ability to sort of analyse our job flow, understand likelihood of fill, time to fill, all those sorts of things that were really key to our forecasting. And as I'm sure most people on this call can probably agree, over the last couple of years, knowing where the next bit of cash is coming from has probably been quite helpful in the markets we've all experienced. So we're looking to try and fix that. And automation seemed a pretty obvious approach, really, to just ask consultants, go take ourselves back to the days before we were trying to do clever things on a database and just have a vacancy pickup form. So when you take your vacancy down, you fill in boxes. The number of boxes you've filled in determines a score at the bottom way back when. Now we do it on the database, but we didn't bring that element with us. So we put together a set of simple questions that we ask consultants when they load a vacancy onto the CRM. And you could probably do this in a slightly more clever way, looking at completed fields and non-completed fields. But we just went with a series of questions to ask, mandatory questions. There's just simple yes, no. Things like, is the role exclusive? Is the client open to regular catch-up calls? Have we had a full vacancy briefing? All those kind of basic kind of things. And then in automation, those with better knowledge of automation than I will probably go, why have you done it that way? There's a far simpler method. But we have a series of lists, a lot of lists, that are basically looking at each of those questions. Is the answer yes? If so, put them into that list. And then other lists sitting on top of that are aggregating together every possible combination of questions 1 to 6 with, are they in list A, B, and C, and pulling together effectively working out how many yeses that person has answered, because that's what we use to determine the grade. Then if they've got 5 or 6 yeses, it goes through an automation that updates the job grade to A. If they've got 3 or 4, upgrade to B, and so on and so forth. You could probably do it with branching as well. I just feel more comfortable building lists than building branches. I find that easier for my brain, but horses for courses. So what that gave us at the other end is a completely standardized. We know that a job A has got 5 or 6 of the 6 things we're looking for, a grade B, so on and so forth. So when we picked up X number of grade B jobs, we know that all those Bs are equivalent to each other. So then we can start looking at what's our typical time to fill of a grade B. What's our likelihood of filling a grade B based on multiple firsts, multiple finals, all these variables we can bring in to that data set, knowing that our core understanding of what the quality of that vacancy is standardized.